Check, check. Can you guys hear me today? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Or if you can't. What's up, Moon Boy? Welcome back. Good to see you again. Checking in from East Australia, I think it was. Let me know where you're at. Remind me where you're at. I'm just trying to figure out, making sure everything's working here. I'm just checking in on the news this morning to see how things are looking for the market open coming up in about an hour. Sorry, 2 hours. Right now it is, let's check the clock. It is 7:30 in New York. It's 8:30 p.m. Wednesday night here in Japan. The index is at record highs and my stocks aren't. Yeah, I hear you, man. There's a lot of not awesome stuff going on in the market, especially if you got in or bought stuff in the last couple of weeks or before the last couple of weeks. Looks like we finished yesterday up 2% on Desktop Metal, which pleases me. 9% on Planet 13. Probably based off of that really, really gorgeous presentation and earnings report they put out a couple of days ago. Told you guys I'm going to be doing a video on that shortly. Doing my research. I've actually owned this stock for like a really long time. So looking forward to digging into that report. Long-term holder, that's the way to be, Moon Boy. Very good to hear that. I'm really interested to see if there are like more people who can tune in at this time of day or less than our afternoon stream, which we did at, I believe it was like 4 a.m. or something New York time. So, or even earlier than that, probably like 2 a.m. New York time. So I'm just giving this a shot, not planning to stick around for like an hour like I was earlier today. But might also give an early morning here in Japan stream a shot too. Something, it would be more like afternoon or evening for New York. So interestingly, the majority of our viewers are in North America, but it's only like 60%. The rest are spread throughout Canada and the UK. We have a lot in Germany, Netherlands, and a surprising amount in Singapore, Taiwan, Australia, and a couple in Japan even. So let me know where you guys are at in the comment section. Looks like there's 80 of you guys here now. I'm talking to Moon Boy, but I want to talk to all you guys. Let me know where you're at in the world and what time it is for you guys. It's 8:30 p.m. here in Japan. So we were just talking about 7:30 p.m. here in Western Australia. Sorry, I thought I said Eastern Australia earlier. Very cool. Yeah, it's really early in the U.S., especially on the West Coast. I think it's still like 4:30 a.m. or something on the West Coast. So doing it at this time probably doesn't serve a whole lot of people's needs. I'm just checking it out, just giving it a shot. So let me know if it's interesting for you guys. So yesterday, market closed, like I was saying, almost 9% up on Planet 13, which is interesting. GGTTF, another herbal stock, was down. Looks like almost 3.5%. A couple other stocks I've been holding for a long time that were up yesterday. Skills, the video game company that is taking over people's cell phones. And interestingly, ARK keeps buying in more and more and more. Like I wasn't like that high conviction in it, but it's super interesting to watch ARK just being like, the dip, buy. And they're like going hard at it. Like almost Palantir level, but obviously not quite Palantir level. Nordstrom was also up 1% yesterday. I've been in Nordstrom for a long time, but I've taken a lot of profit. I think I got in when it was like $13, and then I sold out when it was like $45 a couple of weeks later. And I was like, it's not going to go higher than this. So I took some profit on that. But I've been thinking about it. And I think one thing for us to keep in mind as investors is that it's smart to consider, if we're going to take profit, what is the purpose of taking that profit? Rather than just being like, take profit and try to buy back in, take profit, try to buy back in kind of thing. It ends up being a much smaller mental workload to just buy in and just leave it for like years if you believe in the future of the stock. Oh, check it out. We got Alberto, Basque Country, Bilbao. Wow. I don't even know. I've never even heard of that before. Let's check it out on the Miz apps. Whoops. Is that France or Africa? Spain. Whoa. That's very cool. For those of you who are into maps, looks like it's northern Spain. Very cool. Thanks for checking in. I don't think I have a lot of people who are like actively commenting from kind of that whole region, France, Portugal, Spain. So thank you very much and welcome. That's cool. Alberto. AC, what's up? Welcome back. Guys, let me know in the comments section if there are stocks you're looking at or stocks you want to talk about. I was just going through kind of some of the stocks I'm watching the results for yesterday, since the market opens in a couple hours here. Tesla was only up, I think it was, let's see, 50 cents, which was surprising. It seems to have settled down a little bit. It broke past that 700 and kind of settled back down below 700, which is, I think it's still a fine buying price if you have the breathing room in your budget. I think it's surely going to at least double in the coming few years if you can handle, buying a big chunk. It's just really expensive, so a lot of people aren't super interested in it. But looks like Palantir was down 17 cents. Good old Apple. How many of you guys are in Apple? I know a lot of you guys. Hello, Ali H. Illumina. Illumina was a stock that I haven't actually looked into enough yet. I know it's quite complicated stuff, and it's not just like, a matter of picking up a couple of reports and understanding what they do, because they're doing gene sequencing and all this stuff. I wonder, though, ARCG Holdings, does ARCG have Illumina in it? I think it might. Let's check that together. And if it does, then I do own it. Because ARCG is one of the things that I'm like not super awesome at genomics. Fun Holdings, there we go, sorry. And no, it doesn't look like it's there. Interesting. Teladoc number 1. Regeneron's number 4. Regeneron's been a hot topic for a lot of people. Twist Biosciences also, and ARC just keeps plowing into Twist, which is cool to see. Let's see. Let me pop back to you guys. Ali H, let me know more about Illumina. What are you enjoying about Illumina, or what are you excited about for Illumina? And Nintendo, no Apple. Alberto, Nintendo is interesting, and it's kind of become a hot stock for a few reasons. I almost got a bunch of Nintendo a couple of years ago, and I think they've done a good job of remaking themselves. For those of you who watch my normal videos, I have a Nintendo Switch in the background there just because I'm a gamer and I like Switch. And they've effectively remade themselves and become cool again. The Wii and the Wii U generation weren't successful, I think. and it sounds like they are, man, I don't remember what it was. Let me look. I was reading an article the other day on the new version of the Nintendo Switch that is going to have some crazy NVIDIA or something graphics card. I think it was NVIDIA. Yeah. Let me share the screen with you guys. Nintendo to use faster NVIDIA chips in new 2021 Switch model. The NVIDIA system on chip will also add memory and a CPU upgrade. And Nintendo's console refresh targeting year-end shopping season. I think it was this article that I was reading, but it says, yeah, check it out. Nintendo's deep learning super sampling, or DLSS, a novel rendering technology that uses artificial intelligence to deliver higher fidelity graphics more efficiently. That will allow the console, which is also set for an OLED display, to reproduce game visuals at 4K quality when plugged into a TV, said the people who asked not to be identified because the plan is not public. So if that ends up being legit a thing, it could be that like Nintendo's with the Switch has done a really, really good job of appealing to everybody. Like everybody wants a Switch. But the really, really hardcore gamers don't have that much to look forward to in the Switch. But if they can step up their graphics, and if they can step up especially online play, dude, online play is so rubbish on the Nintendo Switch just because it doesn't have the power to be able to handle voice chat while actually playing a game. It's like not powerful enough. One sec, I got some yogurt here. And if they could solve that and also make it so that, like, I'm not sure if it's a Nintendo being too family friendly or whatever, but being able to play games with your friends is a huge chore on Switch. And I think that's what keeps them from being able to like dominate the whole market against competition like PlayStation or Xbox. That being said, I like their switch to a more open model, having a game, what is it called? E-store. Basically, you can just buy games online now, and there's way more indie developers than ever before in the whole Nintendo ecosystem. So I was really interested in Nintendo. Let me switch back to this over here. But as you've seen, over the last couple of years, it's done really, really, like it's gained a lot of traction, and it's hard for me without doing a more thorough analysis. Actually, let me look up investor relations and see what we can find. If we can take a quick look at, wow, that's a easy to read website. So here's the 9-month ending March. Let's see if we can see. Nope, it's just a Q&A. I was tricked. Financial data. Is that what we're looking for? Whoa, they got it all graphical. That's awesome. Dude, they're forecasting big growth coming up. Dude, and you can even choose gross profit and all this. What the sweet? Yeah, I turn everything on. SG&A, advertising, gross profit ratio. Dude, what? Let me zoom in on this for you guys a little bit more. Sorry, let me just check in on the chat. I haven't looked at the chat in a couple of minutes. Nintendo could be a second Disney with its theme parks. That's a good point. I forgot about that theme park in Osaka. It opened recently, and I haven't heard anything about it because traveling around Japan is kind of frowned upon right now. I could fly to Osaka in 95 minutes or whatever it is. It's really close. And I super want to go check out the Nintendo park because I'm a gamer, and I started playing Nintendo when I was like 6. So Mario's been a close friend my whole life. Let's just put it that way. Hey, welcome back. We got Johnny Volts. We got Travel Time. Welcome back, Travel Time. Give me a minute. I'm gonna look at this Nintendo real quick because I'm fascinated by this graphical presentation. Which one is this? Gross profit ratio is 49. What? I did not know they were that profitable. Wow. Research and development. Wow, look at that, dude. That is not the one I'm looking at. Research and development is the square one, right? No. Oh, okay. Okay. So they're boosting research and development, which is what we like to see because we want to see Nintendo continuing to innovate and continuing to break out of its mold of just being like having a small target of like just families kind of thing. I really hope they can provide better graphics, more hardcore games, more shooting games, and more online play and stuff like that, you know. But again, going back to what I was saying a minute ago, their eShop and their game selection is way better than it's ever been. I'm kind of always playing the Switch games, but let's see here. Operating profit, dude. They're growing fast. Let me know if you guys have Nintendo, if you're super excited about it. But it seems like check it out, from March 2017 to March 2018. Look at this pink bar. That's the operating profit. I think that works out to $30 billion dollars. Jumped from 30 billion to 177 billion. I think that's the right number. But I think that's also when the e-store kicked in. So allowing independent game developers to produce games and sell them through their own store, which they haven't really been good at in the past, seems like it's done them a lot of good, which is super exciting to see. But yeah, back to the chat. Let's see. The Travel Time was asking, how's the Airbnb business in Japan? I used to run a couple Airbnbs and have done well with them. I have friends who've done well with them. But one of the interesting things we saw, well, before even the pandemic, was that like I used to do it 8 years ago, before like I was the third house in my city that had it, kind of thing. So I could charge premium prices. And then we saw this huge boom in adoption and, you know, people making seminars, hey, get your awesome like side gig going so you can make a lot of money, kind of thing. And everybody and their mom was starting to offer just like really cheesy, really generic little rental apartment with like a cheap little bed in the corner, kind of thing. So it was good if you wanted to stay somewhere for $20 a month or $20 a night, but it ended up kind of like trashing the whole market. And like you would go on Airbnb and look in a medium-sized city and it would be like there's 300 properties available and they are almost all super generic and uninteresting, kind of thing. So it was basically just a convenient, cheap way to stay around. But all of this regulation came in and they were like deciding, should we, similar to New York and all these other cities, London, where it was like, should we typify these as hotels or not? And then, you know, you have to have fire extinguishers and a certain number of bathrooms and maximum capacity and X number of people and all this stuff. But what ended up happening was that surprisingly, Japan was like, no, we need to be really forward thinking and accepting of this new business model. But if you are running an Airbnb in your house, just follow these rules and apply. And then if you get the proper certification, then you can do it. And it's not actually a lot of hoops to jump through. And I think you do need to pay tax on it, which, you know, is fair and makes sense. So looking forward, sorry, I'm still on the screen share. So I'm personally, I would like to get back into Airbnb, but I know it, like the pandemic and the vaccine stuff's going to be a while here. We just got 2 million doses yesterday, I think it was. So it's going to be a while. We're not going to see a lot of progress before somebody like me, just like an average Joe, could get a vaccine here in Japan. It might be September or something like that, or October. So we'll see what happens. But if you do offer a premium property, Airbnb, I think you can charge premium prices. And for somebody like me who can target Japanese people and foreigners, just as effectively, I think it also gives me kind of double the market. There are a lot of Japanese hosts who aren't buddy, who aren't very chummy, who can't really communicate that well, and then it's really stressful, and there's all this miscommunication and stuff, and the visitors end up being frustrated or stuff like that. So I kind of have an advantage because I can be like, yeah, I live here, yeah, I speak Japanese and English, very cool kind of thing. So those are my thoughts on Airbnb. Back to the chat. Alberto, you mentioned the Disney World-like parks. Are there other Nintendo parks opening up around the world besides the Osaka one? AC. Plus, Nintendo is fairly valued. Also looked into them a few months ago, but I'm already invested in some gaming companies, so I didn't buy. Interesting. Yeah, I want to look at Nintendo. It's kind of been one of those ones that's way down low on my to-do research on list. Holy Scotty, you were on as I was falling asleep. I wake up and you're still on. Cool. Yeah, I just never stop live streaming, you know. No, I probably ended the last one like right as you fell asleep. So just trying out different times of the day to see how it goes. Where I'm at here in Japan, it's 8:50 p.m. now. Alberto, still cheap compared to other gaming. Nintendo also has subscription revenue, right? That is correct, AC. That's one factor why gross profit is so high. That's true, actually. That switch from 2017 to 2018, going back to that chart for you guys, of gross profit, this pink guy right here, that was when their online service kicked in. Before that, you could play everything online and it was free, because they wanted to kind of, get people addicted to playing online and stuff like that. But it's crazy because it's only $3 a month or something like that. It's not $10 or $20 a month like a lot of other services are. So, but I think because it's so cheap, there are like loads of people who are like, yeah, I don't actually play it. I play like 5 minutes a month, but it's only $3, so it's not worth my time to cancel it. Which, if you're learning personal finance, I highly suggest you not get in the habit of having that attitude. But it's done well for Nintendo. Actually, I'll leave that up there. Oh, they're making a Nintendo park in Orlando? The crazy? There are a few Nintendo parks opening up in 2022 and 2023. Also Florida, I think. That's fascinating, dude. I wonder how close they're going to be to Disneyland. And I also wonder if those plans are still going to go through with all the world has gone through this year, especially with Disneyland's getting kind of face kicked for obvious reasons this year. Really interesting looking at Disney. I was mentioned it in a video the other day. Let me show you this HyperChart. So hypercharts.co if you like this stuff. Check out the number of Disney subscribers. Move that over for you guys a little bit. Subscribers absolutely exploding. 95 million subscribers in the first quarter. That's beast mode. But more importantly, check out the revenue segments, dude. Disney Media, Entertainment, and Distribution, all of a sudden, just like fourth quarter of 2020 was like nothing. And then all of a sudden, like the parks are closed. All this international media stuff is closed. Media networks, although I guess media networks may have been rolled into this Disney Media portion. I'm not sure. All of a sudden, the red bar is massive, right? So I'm super interested to see kind of over 2021 as the parks start to open up. Is this bar going to double like up to here because it has the parks plus the red stuff? And if it does, I mean, yeah, the price has gone up very significantly in the last couple of months. Check it out. Yeah, it's kind of up around $200. I was in at like $70 a while ago, but sold out at some point. But yeah, I'd be interested to see kind of how this. Interesting. It says here their EPS is -$3. But but I'd be interested to look more at the financial statements to look into that. But going back to Nintendo, I wonder if their plans are going to change drastically or anything based on what ended up happening. Because I heard it was something like $80 million a day that it costs Disney to operate their parks even while they're closed, or something beastly like that. Mnemonic says, if only Sega would be around. Yeah, seriously. So is it a good idea to wait for earnings to buy? They may drop since they earn less in quarter one. Alberto says, yeah, I think it's always, if you're interested in a stock and you like the stock, don't mess around with trying to time stuff with earnings and trying to buy right before or buy right after. Same thing with dividends. If you know a dividend's coming up, just get the stock. Like, don't try to time it, because that's actually already valued into the stock. So, or the stock price. So yeah, if you're really interested in a stock, just get it, keep it long term, and then you don't have to worry about, all that stuff. We got 17 of you on here, guys. Let me know what's on your minds is. Anyways, I was earlier in the chat, I was talking about Apple. Apple was up 30 cents yesterday. For me, Apple is one of those stocks that's just really, I don't want to say boring. I want to say, check it out. There's this thing called beta. I don't know if this is new for people or not. So I'm going to open this up. Apple beta. It says beta is 1.22 here. This app that I'm looking at, by the way, is just the stocks app built into Macs. So make that bigger. And I like it because it's just so fast and neat. But it says beta down here, 1.22. So the closer that is to 1, the more the stock price moves in line with the S&P 500, basically. So you look at something like Tesla, which will be more volatile. It has a 2 beta. So the ups are double and the downs are double. So going back to Apple, in that sense, Apple is kind of boring because it's not, going up $50 a day or whatever like Tesla is, because the market cap is 2.1 trillion now, highlighted here. But how many of you guys are into Apple? Do you guys like Apple? Have you been in Apple for a long time? It's just one of those stocks I just automatically buy all the time. I'm an Apple. I don't want to say I'm an Apple fanboy, but if you just met me on the street and looked at me, you'd be like, that's an Apple fanboy. I loved Windows for my entire life. I started building computers when I was 7, I think, back in the DOS days. But yeah, I have been a satisfied fan of Apple products for many years now. And my productivity at work actually went up a lot after I jumped into the whole entire ecosystem, and seeing like their service, all of their service stuff happening. Apple TV Plus, I was like skeptical of it. I'm like, dude, you're not going to be able to keep up with Disney and Netflix and Hulu and all this stuff. But there's more and more like good shows coming out, and I'm like watching a lot of them now. I just watched a show called Tehran, which was about an Israeli spy operating in Iran, which was like really, I'm like, dude, I can't wait for season 2 kind of thing. There was another show, the Steve Carell show, I think it was called The Morning Show, which was pretty good. I don't know if there's going to be a second season, but I quite enjoyed it. Anyways, interested to hear your guys' thoughts on Apple's services, but also Apple's stock. Let's see. Business model and execution is amazing. I'm in Apple and love Apple products. Super overvalued. Yeah, so I like Microsoft more as a stock than Apple. Yeah. No, I agree with you guys. Microsoft, like, the weird thing about Apple is that it's $2.1 trillion. And it's like, how much bigger can it get? But then you look at their earnings each quarter and they're like, yeah, we like destroyed the earnings expectations and our EPS is up again. And we made a jillion more dollars than last quarter. It's like, dude, this thing just like, they're like printing money. It's insane. So, yeah, I think Microsoft, from an objective, like standard stock evaluation standpoint, if I didn't have any stocks right now and I had to choose between Microsoft and Apple, it seems like Microsoft is the better way to go. But it's just one of those things for me where it's just like, I'm so into Apple. I love it so hard that I just have been buying it over the years, and it's done super duper well. And then it splits, and then it does even more well. So kind of blows my mind. Yeah. So that's kind of my thoughts on Apple for you guys. Yeah, let me I'm gonna look at a couple of things real quick. One sec. I'm gonna take a yogurt break real quick. AC says, what do I think about the trade desk? I know zero about anything about trade desk. So I'm going to need you to teach me. Wow, that's an expensive stock. I'm going to need you to teach me more about that. Desktop, here we go. $670 stock. Looks like it's done well since, it's done well since the Corona dip back almost a year ago. $144 up to almost $1,000. Beast mode. I know nothing about that stock. So that's one of the frustrating things for me as your host of a live stream, is that there are like 7,000 public stocks, and I kind of should know a lot about a lot of them. Or just ignore your comments. I could do that too, but I don't want to do that to you guys. Thoughts on CCIV from Vin Fintech. That's another one of those stocks. Like I was talking on the afternoon stream earlier today. One of the things that's tricky for me, I know there are so many different EV stocks going on, and I've been in Tesla so long, and I believe so firmly that Tesla is going to win the autonomy game, and they're so far ahead on battery tech and all this stuff. It's really hard for me to get excited about stuff like CCIV or even NEO or different companies like this. So I feel like I'm not I'm too biased to give you a helpful opinion on Churchill. What do you guys think about it? Those of you who are interested in CCIV. Alan Jason, how long are you on for? I wasn't planning to actually stay on super long this time. I was more just kind of checking how many people would be interested in watching at this time of day. It is it's 9:05 p.m. for me here in Japan now. So I'm just a driver. Good morning. What's the hot pick today? What do you guys think? What's the hot pick? I am in the mood for some Palantir. I've been buying Palantir over the last few months. For the Palantir lovers, leave a thumbs up in the comments section. So AC is educating us on Trade Desk. Trade Desk has an amazing business model in programmatic advertising. AI-powered advertising bidder platform. Interesting. Okay. That's not what I thought it would be. Judging from the name, I thought it was going to be like a stock trading platform or something like that. Interesting. And Luke Trottier chimed in with, I was a huge TTD fan. I'm assuming TTD is Trade Desk. Yeah. Valuation got too eye-watering at $400 and I sold at $600. Excellent company though. Now I'm invested pretty heavy in ACUIF ATTO, Acuity Ads. That's very interesting because I know ARC, I did a video back, let me pull it up for you guys. Must have been a couple months ago. Let's see. On Roku. Don't know if you guys are interested or have been following Roku. It's one of those ARK stocks. And I was just like, why does ARK love this company so much? So I did a video on it. But my understanding, I'm going to paste it in the chat for you guys right there if you want to check it out. But my understanding of Roku is basically a similar business model. Just really smart advertising platform. I think the world has had enough of Google running the entire advertising world. So very interested to look into the trade desk. But yeah, it sounds like Luke was checking out of it at $600 and it's still at $650. Went up to almost 1,000. So let me know if you guys have any other thoughts about the trade desk. I wonder if it is over here on HyperCharts. Let's see. Oh, it is. Interesting. Now we can take a quick look at what everything looks like for them. Dude, massively growing revenues going on. 34x trailing 12-month revenue multiple. Net income, $150 million. That was fourth quarter. So it looks like their first quarter results haven't come out yet. Dude, that's a big jump. Wow, looks like they're growing. And their profit margin is getting a lot of 47%. That's the thing I love about advertising business. Operating expenses are growing quite healthy, but not quite at the same rate, it looks like. Revenue year-over-year growth is beating their OPEX, which is always a good thing to see, which wasn't the case for a couple of quarters, probably for obvious reasons. What happens in market downturns and also after New Year's and Christmas is marketing spend, commercial spend from commercial companies drops like dramatically. And so if a company knows nobody is going to be going to the mall to be buying my diamond rings right now, why should I waste my time advertising? When things like that happen in the world, which, it looks like we're coming out of in this case, when things like that happen, it just hits advertisers so hard. Fatty cash loads, $500,000. Okay, not actually that massive. Just relatively speaking, compared to the past quarters, massive. Yeah, that market cap's going up quick. $35 billion now. Yeah, man. 27x revenue multiple. It said at the top up here, 34x revenue multiple for the trailing 12 months. Sounds a little bit expensive. I don't know. What do you guys think for the trade desk? They can revolutionize the programmatic ad space. That sounds really promising without, looking into it more. They basically find you the ideal ad spot for your ads across various channels and advertisers can bid on them. Deuterino, wow, man, so many content today. You're beast. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to make live streaming an actual part of my channel for you guys. Yeah, so if the trade desk is revolutionizing the programmatic ad space and they can get your ads anywhere, it sounds like really, really, really not only like beneficial and cost effective for the person who's paying for the advertising or the company that's paying for the advertising, but if Trade Desk also actually can show your ads in like lots of different places, like on the internet, but also on location, like in malls or train stations or whatever, then that sounds like it could be a pretty dope service. Let me know if you guys have more on Trade Desk, TTD. AC, yeah, I'm really interested in that. One of the interesting things about YouTube is that no matter how interested I am in a stock, if it's not a stock people are searching for, it's almost not worth my time to look at. So I've done a lot of videos that I'm like super excited about because this company looks like it's going to be like really, really interesting. And I'll spend 20, 30 hours putting a video together. And then, check it out. PACCAR. I did a video on PACCAR here. 1,300 views. It's like, and it's just because nobody's searching for it. Even if I put Kathy Woods on the cover with, hearts and stuff like that. I mean, thumbnail's not super awesome either, but if nobody's actually typing that in the search field, people aren't going to find it, whereas I do tattooed chef, 11,000 views, and that's much more worth my time. So one of the frustrating things about this kind of business is that I got to find stuff that people are actually searching for. So I need to do a little bit of research to see if I can do a video on TTD, but from what I've seen floating around like Reddit and stuff like that, it seems like people are interested in it. Yeah, it looks like Roku also has a similar kind of ad platform to TTD. Patrick Shoemaker, I just want to get into SpaceX already, right? Seriously. I assume you watched my ArcX video. I'm going to link it here for you guys if you haven't. But that was one of the things I talked a lot about in that video. Super duper. And obviously SpaceX hasn't gone public yet, but it's kind of like, dude, why? I can't get excited about ArcX because it doesn't have SpaceX in it, and there aren't a lot of companies doing things like SpaceX are. So, yeah. I look forward to when it's going to go public, if it does. Oh, that's a good call, Luke. Talking about the ad space, going back to TTD over here. Sorry, guys. He was saying a lot of the ad spend went away because it was tourism based too, which totally makes sense. Srikanth, share my view on PaySafe. I don't know anything about PaySafe. Tell me about them. Teach me. I'd never even heard of them before, so I doubt they're on HyperCharts. Yeah, they're not on HyperCharts. I super don't know anything about them. AC, got to go back to work. Thank you very much. See you soon. Ethan Earp asking about Nokia. How do I feel about Nokia? How do I feel about Nokia? Bro, I freaking love Nokia. But it's one of those stocks that's going to make you wait, I think. They were down 5 cents yesterday, which is 1.2%. Yeah, Nokia is one of those really kind of, I think there's so many, especially young new investors who are just going to hate it because you're going to have to just wait so long, and it does very, very little. Besides that, Reddit boom spike we had a couple of months ago. But yeah, most days is just kind of like $4 today, $4.01 tomorrow, $4.02 the day after that. And it's like, as far as a trading stock goes, I wouldn't recommend it, but not that I recommend day trading or anything like that anyways. But yeah, I've done a few videos on Nokia recently. I'll link you to my newest Nokia video. I'm quite excited about, whoops, it's the wrong video. I'm quite excited about Pekka Lundberg, the new CEO, and he is making some big changes that a lot of CEOs wouldn't really be willing to do because there's the Nokia video. They wouldn't be willing to do because you need to fire 5,000 or 10,000 people. And so I think the fact that he's willing to make those moves shows us how determined he is to turn things around. And him, and in this video I also mentioned the CFO too, who is just kind of like, we will be number one kind of thing. This is just anecdotal, but I was also reading around on Reddit. Reddit's really interesting because you get to talk to, assuming they're not lying, but you get to talk to people who actually worked at these companies and stuff like that. There was a guy saying like, dude, I've worked at Nokia forever, and it's just this huge behemoth company. They pay me a huge salary, and I just sit in like a room in the middle of nowhere making a lot of money doing nothing. And it's stupid to be a stockholder because there's so much of that crap. So I think they're going to be paring that down drastically. And when you have a company that's this internationally important, powering all of many developed nations' internet infrastructures, and probably a lot of countries that aren't developed, their internet infrastructure and cell phone infrastructure and stuff like that. If you can pare it down and remove a lot of the fat, trim out a lot of the fat, it can not only become a dividend beast. Just so you know, I don't go after stocks just because they pay a dividend, but they could grow up to be cash flowing beasts in the future too. Nokia's already set to be one of the big pioneers for the 6G revolution, which is going to be starting in probably 8 or 10 years. So that's how long their time horizon, their mode of thinking is. And they're like determined to be number one. Another kind of interesting factor that's going on around the world, and I was mentioning this earlier in the afternoon live stream too, is that if we start to see more tension, especially between the U.S. and China, but also, I guess not especially, I guess between China and Taiwan, and maybe even Japan, and therefore the U.S. and Korea and stuff like that. If we start to see increasing tension, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see more bans and more harshness on a lot of these Chinese companies. We saw Huawei has been banned in a few places, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we started to see more cell phone companies and stuff like that have restrictions and stuff put on them. I know there was talk about that in the past, and then it was canceled and stuff like that, but there might be more of that drama coming onto the scene, and that could actually benefit Nokia big time. There's also Ericsson, another company that seems to have been benefiting from Huawei's being locked out of a few different countries. Yeah. Hope that answers your question. Let me know if you guys are in Nokia. Let me know what you guys are thinking about it. Luke Trottier. If I do a deep dive into TTD, I should also look into Acuity ads. That's very good advice. Thank you. I'll do that. TTD deserves their multiple premium relative to Acuity presently, but how I feel about Acuity now is how I felt about TTD at $35. Wow, that's very promising. I'm just a driver. Missed out on Romeo Power. Yeah, you did. Silly goose. How could you miss out on Romeo Power? No, it blew up yesterday, and it's one of those things that's just like, you can't really know about that, so don't beat yourself up too much about it. Ethan says, weird that public sentiment is sometimes the most important factor in price movement. Yeah, you're right. And Nokia is very much a victim of that. I mentioned this in my Nokia video, but check it out. If we go back like super duper long, all time here on Nokia, $56 stock back in the just before 2000 when people started buying cell phones, and Nokia was the like best in the world kind of thing. They never broke, never had battery problems or anything like that. And since then we saw a little bit of action, but since then it was basically like, oh, that company is old hat, so it's no longer interesting. So I think if Nokia can somehow convince the world that Nokia is actually still really important and get some buzz going on Wall Street and stuff like that, I think it could end up being much more valuable going forward. We're seeing a market cap of $23 billion, and I think their annual sales are like $24 billion or something insane like that. It's like, dude, you just take out all of the assets, and they have a huge cash pile too. I think it's $2 billion or something like that. But take out all the assets and just look at their revenues, and it's like their market cap. Let alone and then you add in all of their assets, and it's like it should be way higher than this. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, that's that whole market sentiment thing. Srikanth, I mentioned that I don't know anything about PaySafe, so I don't know if I can really help you with that without doing a proper look into it. Alberto, thank you. Glad the Nokia video was helpful for you. Mnemonic, Nokia Long, thank you for that. Srikanth as well, thank you for that. Patrick Shoemaker, I want to get into genomics, but I'm completely ignorant on which companies to dump money in, so I just bought some ArcG. That's exactly what I did. I don't have the mental capacity, really, to do that much research on all those different kinds of companies who all seemingly are like revolutionizing human history. Like every company is doing that. And I'm like, everybody can't be revolutionizing the world all at the same time. So I'm just kind of like, okay, ArcG, here's my money. Take it and figure it out for me. Ethan Earp, yeah, I'm holding lots of shares of Nokia, but I'm more than willing to wait a long time for Nokia to move. Yeah, I agree. That's the right way to think about it. Oh, what's up? Whatever. I forgot how to say your name, Russian guy. Live streaming. Yeah, this is my third live stream in 2 days. So just giving it a shot. Still not a lot of viewers. We got 26 in here now. I'm thankful for you guys, but not sure if this is the right way to use all of my energy and to just totally discard making videos like how I always have been. Yeah. So let me know what you guys think, or if there are things you want me to be doing more on the live stream. We were doing a kind of quick overview of companies like Trade Desk and Nintendo earlier, if you just got here. Ethan, I love finding companies like Nokia that have a better future than public sentiment would tell you. Dude, I super agree with you. Really proves the fact that in a lot of ways the market is somewhat about psychology. Yes, it totally is. Dropbox is another one of those companies. It should be like a lot bigger than this. And again, I think it's just everybody has a little 2 gigabyte Dropbox going on in their computer. Nobody realizes how much cash flow they're pulling in, and therefore how much of a like beast company, if you think of companies in terms of their goal is to make a lot of free cash flow, just flies over people's heads because Dropbox isn't one of these, we're changing the world with super high tech, crazy, like, genomic stuff or, automated cars or whatever. It's very much just kind of like, yeah, Dropbox, whatever. It's like my Nokia phone. It's like, that's old kind of thing. I think that's how a lot of people think about it. But once Wall Street catches on to Dropbox's free cash flows, I wouldn't be surprised if we see the price going up big time. Ethan, thank you very much for the comments on the live stream. Luke, yeah, we were talking about Porsche and Volkswagen earlier on the afternoon live stream. Super interesting to see what's going on with the potential for Porsche and Volkswagen. I was sharing a little bit of my thoughts about, actually, I don't know if that's relevant regarding the whole arbitrage opportunity, but I think, I don't know, like, do you think we've missed the entry window for Porsche, Volkswagen? Let me know. Patrick Shoemaker, Meet Kevin steals the entire live stream audience. Meet Kevin is a stud, dude. He puts out a lot of content and he knows his stuff. I don't know how. I think he just doesn't sleep. I think he's just kind of like, he has the internet like direct connected into his bloodstream, so he just knows every stock, has done deep analysis on every stock, and then he also has a tube of caffeine direct injected into this arm. The internet's in his left arm, and just continual caffeine and data flow going on through his body and mind. Either that, or he's actually triplets, and they just take shifts. They just do like 5-hour shifts, and they just go throughout the day. Meet Kevin kind of blows my mind, but let me know if there are things that you guys would like more of in the live stream, or would provide you with more value. Speaking of value, if this has been helpful or fun for you, please leave a tip. We have the super chat function going on down in the bottom of the screen. That would be super exciting for me to get my first ever super chat. That would make my day, and I would sleep very well. Let me know what you guys think about that. Meet Kevin puts out so much content, it doesn't make sense how he does it. Yeah, it's interesting because he has a really, really smart setup. I've seen a few videos where he he uses a streaming switcher. So basically, he's filming to numerous cameras, and they're connected to his computer and it's basically saving the file onto his computer continuously. So when on his switcher, when he says, okay, I'm done filming, and actually he can use that to switch cameras around like that too. He just has one mic up here, but yeah, it's always just feeding it to his computer. And so when he's done and he hits pause, he just turns around onto his computer, cuts out the blank spots, and he's such a proficient speaker, that he doesn't jack up that much. You never really see him like, what was that thing kind of thing. So he just cuts out the blank spots, puts on like a thumbnail, puts on a title, description, and then uploads it, and I think he's just always getting more and more and more information. And I think he just thrives on news. He's just so energized by all the news and all the feedback that he gets from it. So I think that's how just having a super duper streamlined setup, I think really makes it easy for him to be able to do that. I would like to do more stuff like that, but I don't know if it's valuable for people. Alberto, you said, I prefer tour analysis. Not sure what that is. Wow, we got a lot of stuff here from Luke. Thanks, Luke. Oh, me Kevin's full of BS. Not too deep DD he's doing. Lots of strange stuff like Jeremy Lefebvre highlighted not too long ago. I think they're actually like super homies. They do that live stream thing now with him and Andre and Graham. I forget Graham's last name, but I think when they're just poking fun at each other, whenever you hear them like, oh dude, like I broke up with that guy or whatever, like I think they're just trying to take over the whole finance space and just kind of have a loop of loyal fans going back and forth between all of them. So I don't think they're actually saying, I don't think Jeremy is saying Kevin is actually full of crap. Let me know if you guys have any other thoughts on that. I really respect all four of those guys, and I would love to have a channel similar to them or be part of that discussion when they have, the live chat with all four of them. That would just be so fun because I have, 1 foot in real estate, 1 foot in crypto, my 3rd foot in stocks, my 4th foot in entrepreneurship, and all that stuff. So it's just like when I sometimes watch that show, I'm like, dude, these guys are really fascinating and interesting. I like Andre Jick's cinematic style and presentation. For most of my videos, I try to, have a lot of information popping up on the screen so it's easy to follow and it's entertaining and it feels good with nice music and stuff like that. But if there's more demand for this kind of just, me looking at the screen and talking to you guys and answering your questions, I'm happy to shift over to this business model, so to speak. I've been talking about doing that trade desk video. I'm going to take a note actually, because it's almost 10 p.m. here. So trade desk video. I'm talking about doing a Planet 13 video. We also got a suggestion for that other trade desk like thing from Luke. What was it? Acuity. Yeah. So I'm going to look at Trade Desk and Acuity, Planet 13. And I might try doing those videos in this format. Earlier today in the afternoon stream, I had the curtains open so you could see the Japanese garden next to my house, which was probably a lot nicer feeling than just, a curtain next to me. But if we end up doing more videos where I'm just kind of sitting in front of my computer, the production time is like probably a quarter of what it would be. And if that ends up allowing me to do more research, allowing me to put out more content, and that's something you guys enjoy, then I will like to do that, Molson Coors is looking interesting at $11 billion market cap. They acquired the remaining 58% of Miller Coors in 2016. Buying very high at the top was a bad investment at the time. Since then, income has increased. Net debt to EBITDA is dropping. EBITDA is growing. They've paid off just about half of their debt since then, from $11 billion to $7 billion, with $1.2 billion in free cash flow. Wow. I actually grew up in Canada, and the US. But it's like what we were talking about with Nokia and Dropbox earlier. It's easy for me to think like Molson, okay, yeah, whatever. That's not an interesting company. Like how everybody thinks about Nokia and Dropbox. But yeah, that sounds like really good numbers when we're seeing free cash flow of $1.2 billion. Thanks for the insight, Luke. Double-digit free cash flow yield. Ran into added expenses, thin margin due to some industry-wide supply chain issues, but they've addressed it and worked it out. Not only are they reinvesting in seltzers, they're entering the THC and CBD cannabis beverage space as well. I've never even heard of a cannabis beverage. I'm in Japan. It's like hyper illegal. Interesting cultural side note. In Hokkaido, the northern island, there's a little city called Owasa, and the character for it is basically marijuana. And it turns out, I don't know when it stopped, but it was like the place where you grow and make marijuana and then distribute it around the country and internationally and stuff like that. I think it was after World War II when the U.S. basically was running Japan. General MacArthur and all that, I think was when they made marijuana illegal. And it's like I know a lot of people who smoke and stuff like that, but it's very strict. And all I hear about prison in Japan is like, dude, you do not want to go to prison, especially as a white person. So I don't know what kind of is in the future for any of those kind of products for Japan. But just thought that would be an interesting side note. There's a city called Marijuana, basically, or cannabis. No problem, Luke. Thank you for the lengthy message. I think it'll be a good reflation trade again during this decade, going back to Molson Coors. Going back to the 4 finance guys on YouTube, all 4 guys are just about entertainment, selling emotions. Then there's a guy like Dead Insights who does deep analysis and doesn't clown around. I respect people like that a ton more. Dead Inside. I've never heard of Dead Inside. I personally wouldn't mind. Alan says, I personally wouldn't mind the more sitting there to talk video, but I appreciate all the editing and work done nonetheless. Thank you for that. Ethan Earp asks, how do I find the companies that I do videos on? Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, basically on YouTube, check it out. I'll share my back end with you guys on YouTube. So here are a bunch of videos. Did a video on Tesla the other day, and don't know if you can see that actually. There we go. Did a video on Tesla the other day. Tesla is like the most crowded, the most competitive topic you could possibly talk about. And so I only have 500 views on it. On the flip side, I do Palantir stuff and I get more than 1,000 views. Some of them get 2, 3, 4, 5,000 views. Seeking Alpha is wrong about Palantir, has almost 3,000 views. Nokia, a lot of people are searching for Nokia, 2,500 views. Tattooed Chef, because of Jeremy, Tattooed Chef, 12,000 views. So a lot of ARC stuff I like to do videos on because people are searching for that. Strangely, Lemonade, which I thought was a very kind of talked about stock, 1,200 views, and that was done like a couple months ago. So, or not a couple months ago, probably 3-4 weeks ago. So when finding stocks to review for YouTube, one of the puzzle pieces is figuring out what people are actually looking for and will want to watch videos on. And then the other part is stocks I'm interested in learning about, so there are stuff like in the genomic space where I'm just like totally just not going to really understand it or be able to teach things well. I mean, if I spent days and days and days, I could figure it out and understand it and try to teach you guys better. Or I could just not talk about that stuff. Whereas something like Tesla or Palantir or Nokia, our company, or Dropbox are companies I've done a lot of videos on, and I feel like I understand more and I'm interested in them. I've done videos, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, that one PACCAR, which is a company that that was this video, company that Arc is invested in, and actually quite a fascinating company. Does a lot of big rigs and those kind of. Here's a link for you guys in the chat. But because people have never heard of this company and they're not really searching for it, don't get loads of views on it. 1,300 views, and I published it in February 9th. So it's quite tricky, and so that's one of the challenges too for small people in the finance space, because you're like, dude, I want to grow. Dude, I want to provide value for people. But Jeremy is only talking about Planet 13 and Tattooed Chef right now, so I guess I have to talk about those, And then, actually, in the case of Tattooed Chef, both of these stocks I've owned for a long time, but in the case of Tattooed Chef, once I started looking into it, because he was so passionate about it, I was like, whoa, this is actually kind of cool, and so I enjoyed doing that video, and that video is doing well, There are other stocks that I've considered doing videos on, like Disney or something like that. And then you search in YouTube and there's like 50,000 videos on Disney stocks. So it's kind of like a really competitive space. And I like Disney as a stock. So I'm like, I want to do more research on it, and I want to, put the goods together. But my schedule doesn't allow me to spend that much time yet on stocks. One of the hopes of this channel is to be able to grow it big enough that I can sustain our team as, part of a core part of our business. In the afternoon chat, the afternoon stream, I talked more about the business, what we do, all these different things that we do. And if we could support the team more using this channel, then I could spend more time doing research and stuff like that. And also getting more research tools and things like that into our hands so that we can research more efficiently and more quickly. And also, like I was talking about earlier when I was talking about Meet Kevin, getting things like a streaming switcher where I can control all the different stuff all in one switchboard. It's like $1,000 though, and basically be saving all the video to my computer live and then edit it, upload, and done kind of thing. I could sit here and talk to my camera all day about stocks. That's how much I like it, but it doesn't pay enough right now because we're such a small channel. And so trying to figure all that out, and starting live chat and offering super chats in here. Also looking into setting up courses in the coming months, maybe. Also looking into, I've offered like not so much, basically like coaching. Like I'm not like a licensed financial advisor or anything like that, but I can sit down and talk with you guys if you want to talk about life or marriage, or I know I haven't talked about marriage at all on this channel, but it's one of the things I'm passionate about doing well. Life or marriage or career or family or finances, job, stocks, crypto, real estate, whatever. Like these are things I'm already spending a lot of time talking with my friends all the time in real life. I would love to work with people like you. And if we could make a living doing that, then we'd be able to provide even more services for you guys going forward. So that's kind of the struggle of being a small YouTuber. Let me know if that makes sense. Alan Jason says, ever heard of Joseph Carlson? Thoughts on his style? I think I do know Joseph Carlson, and he's very dividend focused. I don't have millions of dollars. I think if I had millions of dollars in my portfolio, I would like to be dividend focused. He doesn't have millions of dollars in his portfolio based on his thumbnails because he shows his net worth, I think, on his thumbnails. And so I respect his analysis and his format and his style. And I see that he's growing his channel really well, but I wouldn't do that investing style for my own situation right now. And as far as like one of the things I really like about, we were talking earlier about Andre Jick and Graham and Jeremy and Meet Kevin, is that they show their face and you get to talk to each other and you get to know each other. I think that's really important with YouTube. And that's why I don't watch a lot of these finance channels where they're just candlestick charts or news articles exclusively. Like, it's like, dude, if I want a personal connection, that's why I'm on YouTube rather than CNBC or whatever major news media outlet or whatever. So, and one of the cool things about YouTube is that you get to know each other. And I want that to be part of my community too. So, nothing against Joseph Carlson. It's just not really my style. Go back to the comment section. Let's check it out. Yeah, Luke's saying one of the nice things if I cover a stock, if I'm one of the first people to cover a stock that ends up blowing up, is that I can get attention from that. Interestingly, though, YouTube, if you type in the search field for a stock that has just become interesting, like what was that? Somebody mentioned it earlier. That one about that one that blew up yesterday. Man, I don't remember what the name of it was. There was a stock that blew up like 60% yesterday or whatever it was. If I was the first person to have a video on YouTube about that, that can get found. But actually, if you type in the search field, Romeo Power. Yeah, thanks, Luke. If you type in the search field, generally speaking, YouTube will prioritize newer videos. And so, you know, there was like a few weeks ago, I was doing Palantir stuff every single day. It was very likely then that if somebody typed in Palantir, I would come up at the top because I was the newest video on Palantir. And so just having a video doesn't necessarily give you a big advantage, but having new videos that are relevant, it does give you an advantage. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, Ethan. Dividends are so cool once you have a lot of money. Because at 1.4 million with the right dividends, you can make 60K a year doing nothing. Totally agree, you know, but using dividends as your main tool, as your main vehicle to get to past $1 million, if you're starting with zero, can take a very, very long time. You know, I often talk about Tesla on the channel, and Tesla was one of those ones that, because I did the research in it and started to understand it, I started to kind of grasp how crazy it could go, you know, and because of that, I was able to ride it from $30 a stock or whatever up to $1,200 a stock post split. And that alone provided like years and years and years of equivalent dividend growth for me, I think. So super interesting to think about how, what kind of stocks make sense or are a smart thing to focus on based on where your net worth is and what your retirement goals, so to speak, are. And so I think when you're at that really, really first initial stage, growing your net worth and growing your account size is more important than getting $60 a month from dividends kind of thing. Because $60 a month free is nice, but if you had that same amount of money that was yielding those dividends in something that had a little bit more growth potential or was maybe a little bit more risky, it could end up vastly outgrowing the dividend stuff. And actually, going back to Andre Geek, in his videos on his channel recently, he was saying why I quit dividend investing. And for him, for now, it just doesn't really make sense for him. And I think he probably makes millions of dollars a year now, but I think he's at that spot where he's like, I need to buy. I think he did just buy a house or something like that. Buy a house. There's a lot going on in crypto. He's totally a crypto guy, and the gains can just be so much bigger that it's almost silly not to. Once you've already done the research in it, you're already interested or invested in those vehicles. it's silly to avoid them just to run to a 5% dividend yield or something like that. So those are my thoughts about it. I think a lot of people on this channel, when I did my poll recently, I think it was something like half of you guys already have a net worth of over 250K. Let me pull that up real quick. I'd be interested to see how many of you guys in the chat right now actually took part in that poll. 582 votes. Check that out. What's your rough net worth? Less than 8%? Or sorry, less than 0 was 8%. 0 to 50K net worth, 34%. Okay, so that one's taking the lead now. I think for a while, actually, 250K was in the lead. 50 to 100K is 16%. 100 to 250K is 14%. 250K plus is 27%. And I obviously those the ranges in each one aren't the same, but you can only put in 5 options. So the majority of you guys have a 0 to 50K net worth, and then second place is more than 250K net worth. So very good job for you guys. Very good job, you guys. Keep it up. But it was also cool to see people being honest and saying, yeah, not quite out of that debt hole yet, or my mortgage is too big, or I have mismanaged my money, or whatever it is. That's cool to see that people are honest enough to share about that. Not that, these are anonymous, so not that I can figure out who they are or whatever, but for a lot of the people who are kind of in this, these top 2 tiers, it's kind of like dividend investing can help train you to be a disciplined investor, and also to value, dude, I got $5 dividend this month. Dude, I got $10 dividend this month. Dude, I got $20 dividend this month. To learn how to value that kind of dripping, just kind of automatic dividend reinvesting plan going on, that can help train you to get good at that. But I think if you're wanting to jump up to $1 million or $2 million net worth, there are other vehicles like real estate that drastically change the whole entire formula. So I did another poll. I think it was the one. Yeah, it was the one right before that. Besides investing in stocks, what are you most interested in to grow your money at the moment? 26% of you guys said real estate. 34% said cryptocurrency. That is totally understandable because of all the stuff that's going on in the crypto market right now. Private equity, 2%. Gearing up for a side gig or entrepreneurship, 12%. That's cool. Stocks all day long, 25%. So the majority of people are interested in crypto. And actually, even more than just pure stocks, a lot of people are interested in real estate as well. So yeah, real estate is one of those ways where you can just grow your net worth so rapidly. You could take 20 grand, and if you put that in dividend yielding stocks, then it's like, you make a couple $100 a year kind of thing. But if you took that 20 grand and invested it in a really smart deal, and just, even if you're taking on massive amounts of debt, because your mortgage is $300K or something like that, it's quite easy to turn a $300K property that's beaten up and run down into a $350 or a $400 and then sell it, or even just live in it for a few years for the tax advantages and then sell it. That's $50 or $100K that would have taken your whole life. Actually, the dividends would never make you that much if you just stopped investing in those dividends. I'm going to take a drink here real quick. Ethan Earp, thanks for sharing about your net worth on that poll. That's cool. No worries, man. College is super expensive. It's kind of broken how expensive it is. Graduating this semester, excellent. Will work in the wind industry as a turbine technician. That's dope. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts about stocks like BEP or other renewable stocks. I've been in BEP for a long time, and I'm excited about the whole renewable kind of sector going forward, especially with some of the stuff Biden's been putting out too. Yeah, going back to what I was saying about discipline with dividends, training your mind to have discipline. Luke says discipline would be great because there is none in this market. Yeah, I agree with you. Patrick says to Ethan, you're already ahead. Just being interested in investing as a student. I agree. Super cool to see young people excited about managing and having discipline with their finances. Note to self, don't drink soda water while live streaming because I can't stop burping. Luke says, just about 6 figures for the first time. Hoping Acuity and Planet 13 make a big impact. Acuity is now my largest position. Wow. Q4 earnings were misunderstood. Buying heavy now. Soon I'll buy my first home. Hello. Look at this guy. This guy knows how to personal finance. Rob B. Due to COVID, my net worth went up 123% last year. Lol. Wow. Well done. Lack of spending, home appreciation, and massive gains in the market from plowing money in. That's super cool to hear. Good work on that, Rob. Ethan, yeah, the average American at 25 is around 50K in debt, I think. And I'll be out of debt with an associate's in one of the fastest growing industries in the U.S., so I'll be ahead of schedule a bit. Yeah, that sounds great. Before 22 years old. Super interesting. But yeah, going back to COVID, I haven't actually mentioned this on my channel before, but this is private information for you guys who are watching. Basically, like, our companies, my priority in running my various companies is not to get me rich, and it's not to grow my net worth, actually. A lot of people assume that I'm just like all about money and I'm super disciplined and stuff like that. But I'm much more interested in maintaining my team, taking care of my team, helping them develop, helping them to prepare to get married and make awesome families where they can raise awesome kids and stuff like that. And so we didn't let go of our team when COVID hit. And as a result of that, it's been pretty hard financially for the last couple of years. So I shared in my 2020, basically my report card video that I did sharing my 2020 returns with you guys, that I didn't actually put more new money into the market. It was just kind of like growing and recycling what I already had in my brokerage account. And that's kind of still continuing on. So there's a lot going on with the businesses, and certain parts of them are making money and stuff like that. But like I mentioned, Japan Wi-Fi Buddy, our main, check it out. I mentioned this on the afternoon live stream too. Renting out Wi-Fi devices to travelers coming to Japan. So once you get off the airplane, you pop over the post office in the airport, open the package we send you, turn it on, and then connect your phones to this little Wi-Fi router, and now you're connected to the internet. This was like by far our biggest business before travel shut down, and so we've had to pivot a lot. But also, thanks to COVID kind of popping out of nowhere, we've also finally had the ability to start this channel, which is super cool. So that's a little bit about our personal finance situation for you guys. So one of the interesting things, somebody was mentioning, what's his name? The dividend investing guy who's always showing his net worth on YouTube. I forgot what his name was. But he kind of just talks about how every week he adds whatever it is, $500 or $1,000 to his portfolio and stuff like that. I could do a channel similar to that, but I'm not adding a whole lot of money to my dividend portfolio, or to my portfolio. I'm taking gains and figuring out more efficient ways to invest that money, and then also doing stuff with real estate and stuff like that. But I don't have like a regular paycheck like a normal guy, because I'm running all these different businesses. So that's one of the really interesting and unique things for you guys. Going back to the chat. Somebody hit me up with a super chat. It's almost 10 p.m. Hit me up with a super chat, guys. I'm looking forward to that. First one ever. Your name will go down in history. Luke, I'm just about 6 figures. Oh, yeah. I already read that one. Um, Mr. Hey Ren, how's Japan? Hoping to travel there soon. Japan is excellent. I love it here. They're really far behind on vaccinations and stuff, so I don't think traveling is going to be on the docket anytime soon. Sounds like they're not even going to let in tourists to the Olympics, which is like still months away. So, but if you can get here within the next few years, let me know. Luke bought a lot of Etsy. Etsy is definitely a hot stock recently. That's cool to hear. Luke, 2020 was very kind to a lot of people in a counterintuitive way. In March, after that FOMC meeting where the Fed announced the special purpose vehicles, I went heavy working overtime and buying. Yeah, me too. After that market crash that we saw back in March of 2020, I'm just going to zoom. We're on Dropbox right now, but actually Dropbox is super not a good representation of this, but neither is that. Okay. There we go. QQQ. Check that out. Fat dip. I was buying like a lot every single day during that time, and it was amazing. Very much that whole be aggressive, be greedy when other people are scared. And it worked out like super awesome for me. So yeah, I totally agree with you. Whoa, live chat. Somebody hit me up with the live chat. Patrick Shoemaker. Thank you very much. You have made my day. You're amazing, sir. Wow. I'm just so happy. I'm taking another drink. Thank you, Patrick. Rob B says, best advice for young people is to open a Roth IRA. Nothing beats a tax-free gain, especially at a young age when in low tax brackets. I agree. Putting $95 a month away at age 20 will result in you having over $1 million at age 65 tax-free. That's super cool. I love that. Please take advantage of that guys. Holisticati, I missed your question. My net worth went up this past year. My focus has been on my business, stocks, and crypto, but now I'm becoming interested in real estate. Wow. Holistic Hottie hitting all the bases. Sounds great. Very lucky time to have lots of work, says Luke. I didn't want to let the opportunity slip. Same with Bitcoin drop in March. Bought Bitcoin, XRP, XLM, Ethereum a lot then. Most buying Bitcoin since 4K. Yeah, that's when I started buying Bitcoin too. Holisticati, how many businesses do you have? What are your various streams of income? Talked about, wow, Alan Jason hit me up with the super chat. Thank you very much, Alan. That is super exciting. You have made my day too. But going back to Holistic Hottie, how many businesses do you have? Mentioned in the afternoon stream, I went into a little bit more detail, but generally speaking, we have web development, app development company. We're working on an app right now that helps investors understand more about what's going on with insider trading, and just a quick little simple app that I think will be really helpful for a lot of people. Hopefully we'll be getting into the beta phases, which means like testing, so we can send it out to a small group of closed group of people and say, hey, try it out, play with it, figure it out, and let us know kind of what you think, or if you find bugs or errors kind of thing. So that's hopefully coming up soon. Depends on how the development goes. So that's one kind of side of the business. I actually do a lot of photography and videography and stuff like that. And we have the Japan Wi-Fi Buddy rental website. I'll show you that here again. Renting out pocket Wi-Fi, but travel is not really a thing right now in the country. So that is one of the main things that we do. And then what else? We have share houses. We have real estate stuff going on. Few different houses with a bunch of different people living in them. What else is going on? I was talking earlier about my team. I don't talk about this a lot on the channel, but actually helping develop people is one of my passions. spending time not only teaching about finance and stuff like that, but helping people with family relationships, helping people with their marriage relationship, and stuff like that. I just love that kind of stuff is actually a lot more interesting to me than finance and stuff like that. So not to say I'm not interested in finance, because I freaking love it, but that should give you an idea of how important like personal relationships and helping people to develop as people in society or at work or in families or wherever they're, living their life in their organization or whatever. So I do a lot of that too. What else do I do? I used to do a lot of wholesaling. I haven't done much in the recent months. Do a little bit of e-commerce here in Japan. Yeah, so just kind of like always doing a lot of different things, which is why I'm kind of exploring the whole live stream thing. I quite like it. It's really fun to be able to talk with you guys. This is way more fun and interesting for me than me just filming a video in a room and then like editing it and then uploading it for you guys. So hope you guys are enjoying it too. Thank you guys very much for the super chats too. Holistic Hottie, that's cool. I think we're pretty similar in that. It sounds like you're doing a lot of different stuff too. Ethan Earp, I agree, Rob B. I really wish more people knew how much taking a small percentage of their paycheck each month and investing it could pile up by the time they retire. It's incredible. It super is incredible. Little by little is really the name of the game, even though the sexy, fun headline Reddit meme, way of investing has become so trendy. People want to get their $1,400 stimulus check and turn it into $3,000 or $4,000, or even worse, like YOLO it on some call options and turn it into $600,000 in like a week or something like that. For some reason, that's become acceptable, but the vast majority of people who are going super duper high risk, it doesn't really work out for them. So, Coinbase IPO, Spliffstar69, what's up? Welcome to the chat. I do have some thoughts on the Coinbase IPO, but I haven't done enough thorough, proper research to actually, basically just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because I wouldn't trust me on this topic right now because I haven't done enough research. But simply put, I think there's a lot to look forward to in this space, and Coinbase looks to appeal to the American crowd with a really nifty kind of interface and easy to use interface. And with Bitcoin prices so bonkers high right now, there's a lot of transaction fees that they can make a lot of money off of as well. They have a huge user base already that's very loyal. So I think there's a lot to be excited about as far as growth goes for the future. I haven't looked into the actual numbers to say, whether it's overvalued or undervalued or anything like that. So, and I think there aren't even numbers yet for how many shares they're going to be offering and therefore what their market cap will be and stuff like that. Let me know if you guys have thoughts in the comment section as well regarding the Coinbase IPO. Holistic Hottie says, one of my clients works for Etsy. Every week that I train her, I'm reminded of how I sadly did not invest in the stock. Yeah, I kind of feel about that. I feel like that too about Etsy. I feel like I'm way too late to the party. Yeah, check it out. 6 month chart here. Put that up for you guys. It's done a lot of growing. Let's go back 1 year. Woo! $53 back in April 2020. Now it's like 200. Yeah, 200. So it's 4x'd. I definitely feel like I'm late for the boat on that. Yeah, I'd be interested. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's a HyperChart for this. I wanted to look at some of the quick kind of figures. This is one of the neat things about HyperCharts.co. If you guys don't know about it, it's quite a nifty site. I like it a lot. And I have a link in all of my videos. If you want to join the service, you can, and then I'll get a kickback from that, which is cool. Revenue and operating income. Blue is revenue, yellow is gross profit, red is operating income. Actually, let's get my head out of the way there for you guys. Dude, it's so gorgeous seeing that gross profit margin growing like that. Yeah. Man, year over year revenue growth, 100. They've topped 100% in the last 3 quarters. You've got to attribute that a lot to the whole shopping at home, and also people having free time at home to be able to make arts and crafts to sell on Etsy, and then advertising to their friends and stuff like that. I'd be really interested in looking more in depth at to try and get an understanding of how this may be one of the more temporary kinds of things. I haven't even been to Etsy.com in like years. So be interested to know your guys' thoughts. Growing cash pile, that's always good to see, especially if they're looking at acquisitions and stuff like that. Dude, that market cap, oh my gosh, look at that spike. Fourth quarter of 2019, it was a $5 billion company. Now it's a $20 billion company. Okay. Revenue multiple actually isn't as bonkers as it used to be. That's kind of interesting. I'd be interested to hear your all y'all's thoughts on Etsy very, very much too. Whoa, Marshall. Thank you very much for the super chat. That means a lot. $5. Thank you very much. Andrew Latondra, we got a collab. Dude, I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you on that email from like 8 months ago or something like that. Are you doing anything besides Dropbox now? Since we last talked, we were basically talking about Dropbox, but it'd be fun to do this kind of live chat thing with other humans in it too. Let me know. I haven't been to your channel. I checked in actually like a little while ago to look at your content, but I don't really remember what you were focusing on. Let's see, Luke. Craziest moment for me post-March was Powell also set up the special purpose vehicle for buying corporate debt ETFs in March, but hadn't needed to use it. Yeah. One of the really scary things about corporate debt and the government getting more involved in buying anything that should belong to the private sector is that you can quickly end up like how Japan is. Japan's government owns something like 45 to 60% of the stocks available in the entire stock market. And you could see how that could quickly go sideways or lead to like massive manipulation of the market. And I think that's why Japanese people in general feel very much like when I first got here and started to meet people 10 years ago, people be like, what? I didn't think you'd be like a gambler. And I'm like, dude, doing stocks, that's not equal gambling. And they're like, wait, it doesn't? What are you talking about? Of course doing stocks is gambling. And it's like, dude, it's not. I think there are a lot of gamblers who are addicted to doing stocks, but it doesn't mean everybody who does anything about stocks is a gambler. But that shows you a lot of the common mentality in Japan, and how it's, I think that is kind of one of the results of the government getting too involved with the stock market. And that's one of the things I'm a bit scared about if the Fed kind of oversteps their boundaries. We see the government, the U.S. government, starting to make some moves that might suggest something like that could be on the horizon. And it's like, please don't do that, guys. That's not going to help us long term. So I'm just reading through the comments here. 1,300 point Dow swing for that day. Wow. Thank you for drinking some vodka in my name, bro. Ride a bear screaming your name. Ethan, the power of compounding interest is incredible, Rob. I've done the numbers with investment calculators, and you're right. The money you put in interest gained is incredible over long periods of time. Again, Marshall Lee, thank you very much for the tip. Arshdeep Singh, what's up? Welcome. Yeah, the special purpose vehicle. That's what it was called, Luke. Thanks for that. When the government is trying to buy or allowing themselves to buy corporate debt, they were using the special vehicle, special purpose vehicle, which I think we shouldn't get into as a country or as an economy. As if corporations don't already control our country enough, right? Rob B. Oh, we were talking about Coinbase a few minutes ago. For those of you who are checking in now, Rob B says, anyone buying crypto, don't use Coinbase main app. Download Coinbase Pro. Exact same thing, but instead of a 1.5% fee, Coinbase Pro only charges 0.5%. Only difference is the interface isn't as sleek. That's very cool. Zach Wolf, thank you for the stream. Thank you for joining. Been hearing good things about Voyager Digital. It's similar to Coinbase. Yeah, there are a lot of good things about Voyager Digital, which is why I'm invested in them. But that's probably a discussion for another video. I don't think I have any super quick and handy analytics tools that I can show you guys right now. But I do want to do a proper video on Voyager Digital, and I'm going to write it in my notepad right now so that I can keep that on my list. Thank you guys very much. Yeah, going back to the Etsy discussion we were having a few minutes ago about online shipping, online purchasing, and all that stuff. Ethan Earp is saying, yeah, my brother works for UPS. And it said the last 2 years have been like what Christmas is like most years and shows no signs of slowing up. So online purchases have boomed. Yeah, I believe it. That's super crazy, man. It's like Christmas most years. Arshdeep Singh, hey, buddy, love your videos, man. I want to start my YouTube channel, but I'm trilingual and don't know what language to choose. What's your advice? Pros and cons not choosing English. That's a super cool question. Thank you very much for asking, Arshdeep. I'm bilingual, and if you go back to my earliest videos, we actually spent a lot of time doing subtitles in Japanese, and it probably wasn't super worth it. One of the things I'm learning about YouTube is that you need to find the most super ultra specific target audience and do everything for that exact target audience, for those exact people, and if you're targeting, kids who love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who are in middle school, using one specific language might suit that better, and if you're targeting people who are about to retire, who used to work at General Motors their whole life and love to eat steak for dinner every day, you're probably going to find a more suitable language to target that kind of person. One of the tricky things is that, actually, let me just show you. If I go into my YouTube backend, let me see if I can share that with you guys. Yeah. So if I go into my videos, I'm going to just pop into, resort this a little bit for you guys. So let's just say my Tesla video I put out a couple of days ago. So you have all this information. This is the title, this is the description, and all this stuff. And doing this in multiple languages doesn't really benefit you because YouTube won't really know who to serve you to. So YouTube's going to look at your title here, and especially the beginning of your description, and then especially if you have hashtags here, that's going to help YouTube figure out what this video is talking about and who it's for. Going over, you can add subtitles over here. Sorry, that's off the screen for you guys. Subtitles you can add. If you click on here, you could say, hey, I'm going to add Hindi subtitle, I'm going to add Japanese subtitle, a Korean subtitle, and be done with it. And you can also actually add a different title and a different description for different language sets now too, which is cool. But in my experience, I've done some videos, I don't think they're on the channel anymore, where I was talking with a guy in Japanese the whole video, and we were working on our cars together. And there were 2% of my audience were like, this is the coolest thing ever. I've always wanted to watch people, chilling with people in Japan and doing, car stuff and stuff like that. And the other 98% of my subscribers were just like, not interested in Japanese. I want to listen to English. And they watch like 1 second of it and click out. So I think for you figuring out how to do your channel going forward, this could be one of those, you probably have to choose one. Unless you have an audience that is like a really huge audience that everybody's bilingual in, I could make a channel that targeted English speakers living in Japan. And actually there's a guy who I watch regularly, or not regularly, but here and there he pops up on my feed. A white guy who lives in Japan, who speaks quite well Japanese and makes jokes about being a foreigner in Japan. And so I think most of his audience is foreigners who are interested in Japanese or speak some Japanese. And if that's part of your shtick, if that's part of your channel, then it might work. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know what your thoughts are, Arshdeep. Going back to the special purpose investment vehicles, we ended up with a lot of zombie corporations, massive fallen angel bond buying. Yeah, I agree. And it's even worse in Japan, actually. There's like, dude, it's so crazy to me. I ride my bike down the street in Japan and there's like endless shops. And you're like, how could that place possibly be in business? I've been here 12 years now. I've never seen a human go into that place, but it's still in business. Like, what's the deal? And it's just the government propping things up. And I think the government doesn't have infinity money hacks, so they can't do that for everybody forever. And then you end up like Japan is right now with the largest national debt to GDP ratio of anybody in the world by far, I think. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, you end up getting a very stagnant economy, which Japan has been. Somebody was asking me, Rob B, you like Dropbox? Only thing that made me hesitant on that stock was that they were losing market share. They were still growing because the overall TAM is growing more. Yeah, I like Dropbox, bro. I like a lot of Dropbox. Here's my most recent video. I will link it in the chat for you. There's a lot to like about Dropbox, especially their free cash flows. Check that out when you get a few minutes. Andrew Latendre, I'll be posting a portfolio update to the channel soon. I promise there's more than just Dropbox in there. I'll email you again. Okay, that sounds cool. Also, Andrew, let me know if you have a live stream set up like this. I've never actually done like a Zoom live stream. We were talking earlier about like Jeremy, Andre, Graham, and Meet Kevin doing their 4-way split screen live chat thing. I want to do something like that with people who are more knowledgeable about finances and stuff than I am. So would look forward to do something like that too. Luke Trottier, the Fed was close to initiating yield curve control like Japan in September. They've stated openness to it. That's pretty terrifying. Mr. Hayren, Asian countries don't like investing in the stock market. They prefer housing. Interesting kind of, let me look this up because I don't feel like in Japan, people are that excited. The average Joe is more excited about savings rate in Japan. 30% saving, what? Yeah, I feel like in Japan, people just save a lot of money and they're just like, I'm just going to save more and then I'm going to save more. And I'm like, hey, do you ever invest in anything? And they're like, no, I can't do that. It's too risky kind of thing. So if this is accurate, data reached an all-time high of 40.2 in March 1990. Okay, so that was still bubble, but record low of 23% in March 2014. Japan gross savings rate. So their low is 22%. So that gives you an idea of how much Japanese people like to save. I'm not going to go into that because reading all of the technicalities of how they derive that information. But I've also heard there's a lot of debt in Japan for the average person as well. So I'm not sure how those correlate. But yeah, the Asian mentality is definitely very different from North American mentality. Dude, market opens in 10 minutes. I guess I was planning to do a 30-minute stream. It's been almost 2 hours now. So I might as well stick around for the market open. Again, guys, if you're appreciating this chat, I would very much value a super chat donation from you guys. I would love that. Luke, any belief that countries like Japan will buy longer dated maturity bonds if the yields rise enough? Leveraged by countries with zero or sub-zero interest rates seeking very low interest rates. I don't know enough about Japanese fiscal policy to give you an educated answer on that, actually. I actually get a surprising number of inquiries, people asking me questions. Hey, how would they do this in Japan? Hey, what does Japan think about this and that? And I'm just like, my specialty is everything outside of Japan kind of thing. So don't know really how to answer that question, but I know there are a lot of, basically like in the US, you know how we're raised not to expect actually getting Social Security money? Japan is starting to do that now, and they're starting to realize like, hey guys, there might not be a lot of Social Security money left in 30, 40, 50 years when you guys are actually retiring. So prepare for your future. And what they just say is save up 250 grand. They don't say like invest in this vehicle or here's a 401k. So people are like, dude, I got to save up 250 grand. How am I going to do that on my 7-Eleven job or whatever? And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of financial education that needs to happen in this country. And interestingly, the friends that I have that do investing almost all just invest in American companies. So yeah, super a long road for financial education in this country, it seems like. Interesting. Rob B was saying, it's not just the government propping up companies. Index investing is also. I was reading how half of the Russell 2000 companies should be bankrupt, but they just keep issuing more shares. Then price slowly goes back up because index investing, and then rinse and repeat. Yeah, so one of the really tricky things about index investing is that it's become in vogue the last few years. Super no bad blood with Dave Ramsey or anything. I super love Dave Ramsey, and I actually recommend his books often. But one of the things he talks about is that for the average Joe, just put X percentage of your paycheck into index funds and be done with your investing, and you'll be good in 20 or 30 or 40 years or whatever it is. One of the downsides to a huge swath of the population just auto investing in index funds is that nobody's actually doing research on these stocks anymore. And if these stocks were in the Russell 2000 or the S&P 500 or whatever it is, when that trend started, now they're just getting auto money all of the time. And they, regardless of whether they issue more shares, they're still just going to keep getting more and more and more and more money, which doesn't help capitalism actually. So it's quite tricky when you're looking at that, because you don't want to tell the average Joe like, no, stop investing in index funds. That's a bad idea. You should go learn how to invest. You should go invest. You should go start being a stock picker or something like that, because that's terrible advice for the average Joe. If I had to make one recommendation, I would still stay index funds, but it's quite interesting seeing how that is coming back to bite the economy on the whole. What do you guys think about that? Arshdeep responding about the YouTube advice I gave him a few minutes ago. It all depends upon the audience and targeting. I'll start in English and try to make another channel for a different language audience. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's also a good idea to kind of break your channels down based on kind of the niche of it, So you might end up having a couple of English channels and a couple of other channels. It's another thing to do. Rob B, are Japanese citizens jaded to investing because the market's been sideways for 30 years? Probably. I think a lot of adults. Interestingly, I know a few people in their 60s now who are like fine with investing, and they do a lot of investing in American stocks too. But a lot of people below that are jaded. And I guess it makes sense. If you were in your 20s and you just started earning money when the bubble burst, in 1992 or 4 or whatever it was. And then, or you just loaded up on a bunch of debt right before it burst. Yeah, it totally makes sense to be scared of and not really look positively at investing, because your whole adult life, the market was garbage diapers and there's no point in investing in it. In the US, we can basically say, take any 20-year period, maybe even 10-year period, but take any 20-year period, and if you invested your money over that 20-year period, you're good to go, and you'll be net positive kind of thing. But I think there are a lot of countries in the world that aren't like that, and so probably the US at some point will end up running into that issue where it'll be like any 20-year period until 2025 or whatever it is. There are a lot of factors that go into that, but all world empires end, so that's a whole other discussion that could touch into politics and philosophy and all this stuff as well. So we'll not go there, but yeah, that makes sense about why Japanese investors maybe aren't super, especially younger ones, maybe aren't super positive about investing in stocks. Yeah, Ethan Earp says, I honestly feel like the younger generations of investors are slightly moving away from index funds. That totally, like, dude, you look at channels like Jeremy, financial education and stuff like that, and it's just hundreds of thousands of people. And Jeremy more than the other guys, I think, well, Meet Kevin does too, and actually Meet Kevin has I think a bigger channel, but they both very much promote individual stock picking, more so than Graham or Andre do, I think. But yeah, I guess that's a good point. If I was in high school right now and I got a stimulus check, of course I would try to do stock picking, but thanks to all these cool resources on the internet now, it's pretty neat to see, more soda burps. It's pretty neat to see how education is so much more attainable for a high schooler. We actually, on our afternoon live stream, we had a 15-year-old who was like, yeah, I'm really interested in stocks. I've started investing already. I'm like, dude, that's super dope. I wish I had that when I was 15. Because this guy could, if he plays his cards right, he could like retire when he's like 25 or something insane like that. Not with a very high, income, but either way. Archdeep says, glad you watch Millennial Money, Kevin, Jeremy, Andre, Graham videos. But hey, if all of you guys, including you, drop videos together, I will watch your videos first. That's what I do now. Wow, dude, that's super huge. If anybody else feels like that, please let me know, because that makes my day hardcore. Because I totally respect those guys, and I would love to have a channel like that, like any of them in the future. Would like to grow into being like a significant, YouTube channel. So why? That's my question for you, Arshdeep. Why would you watch my videos over those videos? What is it that I do or don't do that makes my videos more appealing? Because I need to do that more. So any feedback from any of you guys, actually, let me know. Balanturi, what's up? When the market goes sideways, I like to make some money on selling covered calls on my long-term investments. I do the same. Just be careful to pick a strike price that you do not exercise. Yeah, I totally do that. Selling covered calls is a nice thing to do. And if you're trying to build up your position on a company, I've been doing this with Palantir recently, and you want to lower your cost basis on the company, you sell cash secured puts at like a really low price. You're getting paid to do that. Of course, your cash is getting locked up, but if it never goes that low and you don't get put, then you just get your money back. But if it does dip down below that and then you get put to those stocks, they're super cheap. And now you're lowering your cost basis on a stock you wanted anyway, plus you get to keep the premium. So cool little strategies you can do when looking at kind of the long-term big picture. Warren, sorry, I almost called it Rob B. Warren B. Or Rob Buffett. Maybe I should just call you that from now on. Warren Buffett recently said if he was starting over at a young age with a low amount, he would invest individually in small caps. Yeah, that's If he's saying it, it's the right advice. Luke also said, I'll watch you before any of them. But I like Kevin, Jeremy, Andre. Very cool. Here comes the bell. Looks like it might not be a very exciting day. Bell is hitting now. Thank you very much, Ethan. Channels like you are changing people's future for the better. Thank you. Rob. My oldest daughter blows people away with her investing knowledge. That's super cool. Holisticati, I like your videos because you come across as genuine. Andre does too. You don't have silly thumbnails in your comm. Sweet. Thank you. Thanks for that feedback. Let me know, guys, if any of you guys have feedback on my video style, my presentation style, anything like that you enjoy. Despite what Holistic Hottie just said, I've gotten a lot of flack for my thumbnail designs, and a lot of people are like, dude, why do you look so creepy in all of your thumbnails? Please stop it. And then I change it and make it like some boring thumbnail, and then like nobody clicks on the videos. So I'm like, I guess I just have to go with the thumbnail of me being like, so I try to be level-headed and personable too. So thank you very much. Let's check out what's happened in the market. Wow. Lots of red going on. What are you guys looking at today? Nokia's up 0.75%. All right. All right. Planet 13's up 2.5%. That's about it for the green for me. Well, there's a bunch of other green, but nothing that we've been talking about today recently. Skills is up a little bit. I was talking about them earlier. Palantir down another percent. Way to go, Palantir. There must have been some good news coming out. But, I mean, it's not super helpful to just sit around looking at your stock prices going up and down. I actually don't really encourage that much. And that's one of the advantages I have of being in Asia, because I normally would be going to bed at this time when the stock market's opening. So I actually can't just sit around and being like, oh my gosh, it's up 1%. Oh, it's down 1%. Oh, it's 1%. Oh, it's 2% now. I should just sell it. Like, I can't be tempted to do that because I'm sleeping. So back to the chat. Balanturi. You're great, Trey. What I like with you compared to Millennial Money is that you are not pushing your stocks like Jeremy, so his audience can keep on buying it. Thank you. It's very cool to know that. Alberto, I really like your analysis, either to go deep in the business model and select or discard it as a hype stock that is just overvalued irrationally. Thank you very much. Yeah, a lot of people have told me that they appreciate my unbiasedness. Believe it or not, I've had companies come to me and say, hey, can you do a stock analysis of our company and help people buy our stock more? And I'm like, dude, if you think I would do that, you've literally never watched my channel. But one of the things I try to do most, above all else, of course I want to help you guys find good stocks and have access to the freshest information and stuff like that. But more than that, I want to be unbiased. And I think fact over feelings, fact over biases is like so important. And the media, like I've talked about this so much in a lot of my recent videos, the media is just so crap right now in terms of like only feeding you what they want you to think. They've realized that they can program the way so many people think, and so I hate that. I'm all about just truth and keeping it real. So I want to keep that going as one of the main themes on the channel. Yeah. So thank you very much for that feedback. That's cool. Holisticati, am I familiar with Unrivaled Investing? It would be cool if you two collab. I am not familiar with them, but let me look. I feel like I might have heard the name before. Unrivaled Investing. Interesting. I think I've seen a couple of this guy's videos, and I think I assumed he was just way bigger than he is. He's 25,000 subs, which is massive compared to me, but I assumed he was like, 100,000 or something like that. It'd be interesting to get together with him and do stuff like this. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys are fans and you guys talk with him, let him know my name. I doubt, whenever I look at other bigger YouTubers, I'm like, of course they don't know me. I'm just some peon off in the other side of the world. But yeah, if you could connect us, that'd be sweet. Arshdeep, for me, it's so simple to understand. You come up with so much information, graphs, presentation style, etc. I can pause video and look at the graphs, and you don't say buy this or buy that. My channel's underrated. Thank you very much, guys. Rob B. Exactly why any video watcher in finance who cares about thumbnails is doing it wrong. It's about content, and IMO. Trey and Jeremy are the best. Wow. That's putting me trying to blow my head up or what, guys? That's good to hear. But one last look. Let's see what we got going on in the market. Thank you guys very much for the encouraging words. I'm encouraged to see, we've had kind of 20 people watching the whole chat with a 5-minute average watch time, which is longer than any of my previous ones. And our 3 first super chats ever, which pumps me up very much. Thank you guys very much for super chats. But I think I need to wrap it up soon because it's like almost bedtime. But I also want to try doing a morning live stream to see how the market responds, how you guys like that. Balance says, I follow Popular Investor too. He owns similar stocks as you and does in-depth analysis. You are the only two who are very big on Nokia. Interesting. Cool. Gotta go, Trey. Thanks, Ethan. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks very much for all of the feedback and chat and discussion. This is what makes live streaming so fun and interesting. Have a great day. Let me just take one last look at the portfolio, see if anything dramatic's going on. Doesn't look like it. Kind of a quiet day. Planet 13 is doing more than anybody else in either direction. Voyager Digital, somebody was asking me about that earlier, is down 4% today. Obviously a very small and very likely to be more erratic than a lot of the other stocks in my portfolio. Tesla's down 1%. Palantir's down less than 1% now. Apple's down 0.7%, but yeah, not too much to be, nothing to lose sleep over. So I'm going to go hit the sack, but if you guys are around in, 9 hours or something like that, I might be back on. We'll give it a shot. See how the morning stream does. This has definitely been the most fun stream, but not the most people. So we'll see how that does. Thank you guys very much for your time. Thank you guys for checking in and following up. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.